Hey guys, this is Zaid, and I am back for let's see, this is day 18. Wow, excellent. So I'm on day 18. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and let's go ahead and get going, okay? All right. What I'm gonna talk about today, let's add a new tab to this little mind map, new main node. Let's just make this 9, 19, 23. Okay? All right. Let's look at what we talked about last night. Last night, we did some more journaling and we used the 7-second dream prompt. It's a prompt that I made up that I heard somebody say. Just limit your dreaming, imagining. If you have every excuse in the world and you can't even sit by yourself for 10 minutes, most of you should be able to sit by yourself for 10 minutes. But say, for example, there's somebody who says, I have a weird job where I can't do anything other than do my job, and I have no time at home for whatever reason. Okay, and yeah, I have been in those kind of uh, circumstances, and I want you to know that it's okay. That it's okay because we can shrink wherever we need to shrink down to the size where you can put your hand on it and you can get back into action. The whole point of this live stream is to help men get back into action. We're not saying we don't have excuses. We're not saying that life is challenging. We're not saying that we have different, physical or time challenges or family challenges or mental challenges. We're not saying that. We're saying that with all of those challenges, just like in martial arts, there's this concept of like judo, of ju. Ju means taking the opponent's energy and turning it upside down and using it to your advantage. Okay, so what we're going to do in my live stream on this show is we're going to see everything as an advantage of some kind, as a perspective, and this is a mental exercise. Okay, back to what we talked about last night. Our prompt was 7-second dreams, and what I asked you to do was to imagine 7 seconds of whatever you want: running your dream business, enjoying a hobby, being in a loving relationship, launching that business you've always wanted to launch, traveling, going on vacation. Doesn't matter what it is, but it has to be something that is close to your heart that you're actually interested. All right, guys. And what we said is our goalpost for done for what a successful session was 7 seconds. And I said, and we gave ourselves 10 minutes to do it. Now, this is related to what I'm going to talk about today, which is moving the goalpost. Moving the goalpost. Okay. And I mentioned a little bit about how the idea works in your brain um, last night. I want to talk a little bit more about this. So instead of doing journaling today, I'm going to just talk in the conceptual world about this perspective. Okay. And it's one of the tools in my sort of creative studio that I use to get guys back into action so that we can get going and create momentum and stay in the fight. Right. The person who wins is the one who's left standing at the end. Okay. And the way that we do that is we stay in the fight as long as possible. We don't give up. And we do whatever we have to do to not give up. We take everything we can as evidence of a win so that we can give our brain or give our mind the perk, the perks it needs to want to keep moving forward. Okay. So when we say moving the goalpost, I'm going to just free right now. Okay. So you already do this. So the objection that, hey, you're just moving the goalpost, you already do it. You just aren't aware of it. You already do it. You do it in the negative. And so I'll give you an example. So say for example, let's move some stuff around. Let's give this some room. And when I lay it out, you're going to understand what I'm talking about when I say you already do it. So you do it in the negative. Here's the example. Let's say for example, you dream about writing a book. Great. So your dream is writing a book. Okay. Often we aren't aware of the various constraints and requirements and expectations we put on things that we aren't that are hidden in our subconscious. And I'm going to go back to this element and I'm going to show you how. So you have a dream about writing a book. Say for example, uh, we write you write chapter one. You write chapter one. Chapter one is in the bag. It's a file on the computer, or it's written down in a notebook somewhere, right? Or you have talked it out. You've recorded yourself audio. Use an audiobook. Chapter one, great. Then you you tune into Charlie Rose, for example. And Charlie Rose has an author, Stephen King. Okay, and Stephen King says, "Well, I write every day. I write every day." So Stephen King goes on Charlie Rose. This is all made up, by the way. I'm making all this up. And he says, "I write every day." What happens? What happens is that our mind takes that information and then compares it to what we have, and we ask ourselves, "Do we write every day?" And if the answer is no, then we create that downward spiral and we say, "Oh, we're not a real writer. We don't have anything compared to Stephen King." So because we're comparing. Um, do we write every day? Do we write every day? Every day? Let's say the next day we tune into Oprah and Michael Crichton is on Oprah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna uh, Michael Crichton. I think that's how you spell it, right? Crichton or something like that. Crichton. Michael Crichton. All right. And he says like, "I have published, um, 10 books, for example." And we take that and then we integrate that into our psyche, and our psyche asks us, "Do we have any books published?" No. So we're not a real writer. And you give up on chapter one. You give up on chapter one. This is an example of a downward spiral, uh, or a destructive spiral. We take our dreams and we compare so much, and we create these judgments in our mind that destroy the original thing we were trying to do in the first place. Okay, there we go. Do we have even one book published? Okay, that's the only example I'm going to cover, but you can see how we do that in tiny ways so fast. We do it so fast. We do it so fast, we aren't even aware of it. We aren't aware of it. But we do that to ourselves. Nobody does that to us. And here's a distinction. Are you ready? Stephen King didn't judge you. You did. Michael Crichton didn't judge you. You did. He set something out on the air in front of a mic on TV. He didn't he didn't turn turn towards the TV and look out the TV at you and call out your name and say, "Do you have even one book published?" Or Stephen King doesn't turn to you, you know, kind of like that. I think it's called the fourth wall or something like that in acting, where where in a play there's three walls, right? So on a stage on TV there's three walls. There's the back and there's the side, and then the fourth wall, there is no fourth wall because there's a camera. So it's like the character, like Deadpool does this a lot in Deadpool comic books, and they do it in the Deadpool movies, right? Looks toward the audience and talks directly to the audience, right? In plays, that's also called an aside, right? An aside. So we don't do it, and people don't judge us um, explicitly. Explicitly, we we create and apply judgments to ourselves, and this is one of the biggest things that block us, that get in our way. Right? It doesn't matter if we have ADD. It doesn't matter if we are drug addicts. It doesn't matter if we're alcoholics. It doesn't matter if we didn't finish high school. None of that matters. None of that matters. Um, what matters is our programming, is our operating system. So part of changing our operating system is to start moving the goalpost in the positive, in our favor. So therefore, start moving the goalpost in our favor. Do you see how you already do it? There's something that your brain already does, but most of us are conditioned by upbringing and by society and the communities we're from to do it in the negative. And oftentimes this is even connected to like being a decent person. Here's how. Um, we call it being humble. Downgrading yourself is not humility. It is not. Okay. Creating this destructive spiral in ourselves is not humility. Why is that? Because we live among people. We have family and we have friends. And when we do this to ourselves, we disconnect. We when we downgrade our value and our worth, that that means there's people out there that aren't being served. Okay, because we have value and we have things that to teach and things to help people with that we are not helping people with because we downplay ourselves, right? So I want to mention something. This is connected to Charlie Rose, actually. Tony Robbins was on Charlie Rose, and this was if you find it on YouTube, definitely give it a watch. Incredible, because you get an idea of what Tony Robbins actually does. He lets the mask slip when he says, "Most of us sell ourselves short." So really, all he's doing is moving the goalpost in your favor to keep you in action because he already knows that what you're capable of. You are already capable of achieving most of the things that you dream of, right? And from a perspective, if you can if you can dream of it, if you can even imagine it, because there's some things that we can't even imagine. If you can imagine it, most likely you can make it happen. Okay. If you can dream it, you can do it. You can do, be, have it, have it. If you can dream it, you can do, or be, or have it. Tony Robbins says most of us sell ourselves short. That's the secret underlying all of this that we're doing. What is meant by selling ourselves short? What does that mean operationally in our mind? What does that mean? It means this destructive spiral. So what we want to do is get into a creative spiral. One of my coaches calls this creative spiral, where we're doing the opposite, where we are deciding deciding what success is, moment to moment, and moment to moment, situation to situation. Okay, and we are taking evidence and help, um, from wherever we want, from wherever we want. We are like a tornado. It's like a tornado. A tornado picks everything up and uses everything, right? So I'm in my garage. I have bags. I have a bathroom tissue. I have magazines. I have books. The tornado grabs everything, picks everything up, and spins it around. It just picks everything up, right? So if you think of a tornado, the creative spiral is like that. It takes things and it brings them up into the air, and it uses them. It's like, um, there's this um, there's this there's a story, and I don't know if it's true or not, that a tornado can spin small items fast enough that they have enough force that they can stick themselves in the trees. Things like things like straws, for example. Straws or pens or pencils can move so fast that they can then, stick themselves into a tree instead of hitting the tree and just falling down. Because that's how fast it's moving. It's like seeing being like a pen or a pencil or a straw being shot out of a gun, right? So what we're doing is we're taking evidence, even if it's tiny, like that straw, like that pencil, like that straw, and we can decide that it's bigger. We can decide that this pencil, um, can topple that tree, right? Because the force of the tornado is just us making a choice, and with this committed action. Just like I showed you guys over the past week, what has happened as a result of me committing to this 5 days of live streaming at 10 p.m. PST. I'm now on day 18, right? I wouldn't have imagined that I would have gotten to day 18. A lot of things that I begin, I end up, quitting, right? A lot of it's with, you know, call it lack of focus, call it hyper focus, call it ADD, ADHD, whatever you want to call it. Um, we can get distracted easily, go down rabbit holes easily, and join on to other people's side quests easily, right? What can keep us focused, regardless of how our brain works? What can keep us focused is having this totem in our lives. If you think of like, um, Inception, 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 that this totem, and each character had a different totem to figure out whether or not they're dreaming or not, right? So this constant. What I've done is I've created this constant, this open window, this portal, 10 p.m. PST. You know, even if I get on for half an hour, It doesn't really matter how much I get on. I can get on and not say anything. I can get on and just like and sit here. But this container is that tornado. The longer I do it, it keeps pulling things in. So the longer you work on your thing. Say, let's go back to the example of writing a book. What Stephen King does, he's absolutely right. He just shows up and writes anything. He didn't say what he writes, by the way. Notice that Stephen King didn't say what he actually writes. He may write complete nonsense, but he wrote. So you see how he's doing that? He's actually doing that to himself. He's doing what we're talking about. He does that. It can be complete nonsense. It could be a shopping list. Um, it could be a concept or story idea. Story idea, right? It could be fan fiction for something else that he may use later. But what he does is he's generating tons of raw material that he can draw from. When you have, you know, thousands of pages of material written, how hard is it to write a 200-page book or a 20-page short story? You can imagine with that much content, it's not that hard. All you do is you look through all you've written, you'll find something, and you can bust something out in a week, right? So when we look at people who are very prolific in producing a lot, and we're in all of these people, what what's under that is a commitment to do a certain action to build something over time that creates momentum in your lives. And they may have two or three, four, five, six different commitments. Or like me, I have this one commitment, right? Because I'm at kindergarten level creating, right? So being able to just come here at 10 p.m., it takes a lot of my energy. I have to plan around it. I have to plan around shopping. I have to plan around whether I'm going to help my kids with their homework, right? So that's how this works. So what we want to do is the creative spiral, going upward spiral. This tornado um, grabs everything and accelerates them. Everything, everything, ideas, people coming to help you, right? Things from your intuition, what to do next, what to say next, what to write next, what to think about next, what question to ask next. So sometimes it's intangibles, sometimes it's tangible. Back to what W.H. Murray was saying. Let's see if I can find it. Um, yeah, here we go. It grabs all because you have to have a mechanism to grab these things. You have incidents, meetings, and material assistance. Well, you have to have some hooks so that you can grab onto those things as they come to you. And that's part of what the committed action, the inspired action that we want to do, that's part of what it does. Okay. All right, let's go back down. So we said moving the goalpost is a concept. I'm sure there's a different word for it. You already do it. Therefore, start moving the goalpost in your favor. And guys, if you want a copy of this my map, just go ahead and ask me. Okay, hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm gonna put my LinkedIn right here. There we go. That downgrading yourself is not humility. Nobody needs us to shrink. I'm gonna look for this very important quote. Um, Something about you're playing it small does not serve the world. Maybe I'll add this. I'll add this to my stream tomorrow. All right, and I'm gonna end with this. Okay. Now, another thing I want to tell you guys that even though I don't uh, I pull quotes from all kinds of people, and you don't have to. We don't have to agree with everything that they say. I just want to put that out there because a lot of us think that that every person that we deal with has to, in terms of their politics or their outlook on life, has to agree with us on everything. And I'll tell you, you won't get much done in life because that's not how people operate. People aren't robots, right? Everybody has their own ideas about things, right? Our job is not to police or correct people's ideas about things. So um, I haven't done a Course in Miracles, and I'm not going to. But this quote by Marianne Williamson applies exactly to what we're talking about here, right? So I'm going to read this quote, and I'll end it here. Okay. So Marianne Williamson says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And what she's saying is the same thing here. You are deciding this. Okay. So since you are deciding, and either way is the same thing, you might as well decide the one that's good for you, makes you happier, and that's good for other people because we said every human has some sort of value to other people. And when we shrink, when we shrink so that other people won't feel secure around us, we're actually depriving. We are depriving other people of services, of products, of fixes to things in their lives that are broken that we can solve because maybe we've solved them for ourselves. Okay. All right. Well, that's enough for today, and that's a lot to think about. Again, if you want this mind map, uh, please connect with me on LinkedIn, and I will see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you. Bye.